Hey guys, it's Zero Forge back with another video. Today what we're going to be doing is going over how to actually set up your own multiplayer maps when it comes to player spawning, game modes, kill volumes, soft kill volume, doing lighting. We're going to be doing world atmosphere lighting, player effects that will show up on the screen, game audio like background effects and whatnot. And yeah, so let's get right into it. All right, so first thing that we're going to go over is how to make your map look like this instead of it looking like this. This is what basic Forge maps are going to look like. You know, just it's got your lighting and whatnot, but we want it to look like this. First thing we're going to go into is the lighting. Lights tab. There's UNSC lights where when you place them, it places the light fixture, has the light built into it, but then there's UNSC or Forerunner or Banished, whatever, no lights. No lights are these, so it looks like it's a light, as you can see, but there's no light actually emitting from it. This is going to be good for having scenes set up like this. Without this guy right here, there's no lighting at all. It just looks kind of plain. That's because this thing's not actually emitting light up here, but when I undo that, I have it set up to where I'm using a no light object, but there's a fake light underneath of it. This just lets me have some more customization inside of it, and I think it just looks better. And then I have a light under here to cast light around these borders, because any light fixture is going to do this. If you look at any light, there's going to be a slight little trim on the ceiling of light going around it, and that's all you got to do here. So inside the light objects, you can do things such as point, where it just puts light everywhere, or you can do spot, where it has it pointing in a specific direction. You can change the brightness, so that's pretty dull, that's extremely bright. We're going to have it at 15. And then you can do the angle. As you see, it's getting wider, and now it's getting smaller. Inner angle, as you see, it basically just makes it sharper. Very, very sharp lines versus very soft lines. Then you can do the light range. This is going to be good for optimizing your maps. If you have the light range is saying it's going to go 50 units in its range, it's not going to go past that when it comes to what it's actually affecting in the game. I have it at 50, but it could even really go down to 30, because I don't want the light being rendered down here for the player that's only going to be seeing things up here. It's just going to be more frames that are going to be dropped, and whenever you're designing maps for Xbox players, you want to make sure it's perfectly optimized. And I have the same setup over here. Another thing you'll notice is like a little fog coming from it. Pretty easy. All you got to do is scroll right on down to the cone. I have it set to fluffy, but you could do like cloud, you do basic, but I think fluffy looks pretty cool for this. Then Gobo. Gobo is awesome. Gobo lets you add the effect that the light is doing. So this would be really cool for setting up a water/pool environment. You can do Craig, a fan, all that stuff. Right now I don't really need it, so I'm just gonna turn it off. Then there's animation. You can have the light be blinking. Blinking is really cool if you want to do like a little atmospheric map. There's horror, where the blinking's at a different rate. Then you can add the actual rate of the blink. As you see, the higher it goes up, faster that happens. But I don't want anything right now. And another really important part is the shadows. So without the static shadows, it's going to shine right through all the objects. But I don't want that, so I'm going to turn that off, or turn that on. And dynamic shadows makes it to where any object in the map that's dynamic, it will cast a shadow for it. Dynamic, all that means is that it has moving pieces, such as my tree over here, that has moving pieces in it. As you can see, it's kind of moving around slightly, so it's going to be set as a dynamic object. And also lets the player cast shadows, as you see here. And again, for optimization purposes, you don't want every light to be set to dynamic, because that's going to tank FPS reflection volumes. So this, you can kind of see what it's looking like in here. All this is doing is it's visualizing what light is referencing to display out to the rest scenes inside this volume. Over here you see it's a lot darker, there's not as much light it's referencing over here, so it's going to put out not much light. And I'm going to delete this, and now I'm going to go to build menu, render the reflection volume, and look at how gross that is. Look at all that. That does not look great. But I'm going to Control Z, because you see what it was doing. This is basically what it was rendering inside here. All the light from outside the map was getting sent into here, so you get all these very odd colors, and like it looks fake. Your gun looks weird. But I put it back in. I'm going to render that reflection volume again, and bam, look how much better that is. It goes back to normal. Reflection volumes are in the lights category, and yeah, you can change the boundary. As you see, this boundary is set to only inside this room. So you're going to go all the way down to the probe count. This is just, it's basically going to give more potential light detail to your map. The higher the number means the more spacing between these probes are going to be. The closer the probes are, which is going to mean the more probes on that map, which directly means more budget getting used. So mine is at 13. I basically just go as low as possible until this isn't in the red. If I have it set to 12, there's way too many. But if I have it set to 13, that puts me right in that budget. Again, it's just for making the map look a little bit better. A lot of the objects in here you can find in primarily Accents, UNSC. You can find a bunch of cool stuff in city props, find a bunch of great, clutter objects like this. You can find these in Garbage MP. Edit the dirt, or in the scratch. So the grime and scratch effect can always be edited. As you see, it's getting a little bit dirty. I'm gonna have it set to 0.6. Now if I turn off the grime, it just looks way cleaner, which I don't want. I want it to have some grimy effect to it, so I'm gonna set it to 1.0. As you see, it just looks nice and dirty and grimy. Another thing for gameplay purposes, you don't want all these objects to be interacted with. So if you throw a grenade and it hits it at a weird angle, it's going to completely change the trajectory of the grenade. And all you got to do to affect or to change that is make the physics set to no collision. Now, if I walk over it, you're not going to see a slight raise. Earlier, if I walked over this, my character would go up a little bit. Like all these rubble things that you see me bumping up over. All you got to do, select them, set the physics to no collision. If you have a vending machine, say for example, make it make sense. And a vending machine needs an electrical source, so you have some wires connecting to a wall, which is right next to a electrical box. Just make the map make sense, basically. And add things such as garbage cans. Every room needs a garbage can, and every room's gonna have garbage in it. So you just gotta simply place things that would clearly make sense. Adding detail to a location like this, whereas you see over here, it's pretty simple, doesn't have much detail in it. But over here, it's much more complicated. It's got some wires for what I'm assuming would be like hydraulic press to raise this door. Up next, we have world lighting. So that's going to be up in the map options tab right here. And there's a bunch of different options. There's the color override, which is going to set the actual color for the map. There's the sun pitch, which changes the angle, or sun yaw. And then the sun pitch changes the vertical angle. You can do light bounce. How aggressive is the light going to bounce from the ground onto all your objects? The higher you have it, the brighter it's going to be. Typically you want it to be at the 1.0 range, sometimes 2.0. And you can change the tint override to be bouncing a different color onto all your objects. And then there's skylight is going to be affecting how much a universe is going to be showing. And next we're going to have the sky tint, what actual color the sky is going to look. Now again, this isn't going to affect the bottom right here. It's only going to visually change the sky. I want it to be kind of like a morning haze type of vibe. And then the sun tint, you can make it Basically, the darker the color, the less visible it is. So if you want a small little sun, you can make it black. But I want it to have a little bit of, light around it, so I'm setting it to this cyan color. And then you can change the intensity. Again, it's morning, so I want it to be pretty low, but I don't want it to look unrealistic, so I'm going to have it at 1.0. Alright, as you see with the fog intensity, like if you don't want an intense fog, you're going to have it set to 0, but that looks way too unrealistic. With this setting, 1.0, it just looks a lot better. Effects. So, the effects are cool because you can add just a lot more vibes to the map. Here, we're going to do rain heavy, and it looks like it's coming straight down. And this information right here is going to change the angle of your effects. If you're doing a map like this, not much of the ground is actually going to be played on. You're going to want to turn off that grass. You can turn that off, so now the game will just be a little bit more optimized, Oh, primary sound effects are cool. We're going to do a distant city. Actually, no, we're going to do prison or scorched earth. Hear that difference? That sounds kind of cool. Secondary effect we'll do, because it's raining, we're going to do rain heavy. But for video purposes, we're going to have it set to rain light. The reverb, so if I have it set to interior large, watch this. Lots of echo if I have it set up to exterior open. That sound just sounds a little bit more local to the player. Audio effect, helium. And then space. It's really cool effect if you're gonna have a map set up in like space or something. And the budget, these are two things you're always going to be looking at. If your map's getting pretty high up in budget, you're going to have to cut some things down. Game simulation is going to be things such as dynamic objects and all that stuff, projectile stuff, and forge simulation details. The node graph, this is huge. If your map has a lot of scripts on it, you're going to seriously want to pay attention to this, because if it gets too high, it will basically brick your map. FX count. This, once it goes up to 100%, you can always go past that. I know most people would have it go up to like 200 to 300% for FX count. Game modes and teleporters. We're going to go right into that. It can be kind of confusing setting these up, but the teleporters are really simple. Down here, it is set to object relay channel Bravo and receiving channel Bravo. You can basically do this many different teleporters on your map. And to make it to where this is only going to teleport to this one, all you gotta do is set them both to Bravo. It's going to shoot the player out whatever direction this is facing. But for this one, it's not going to receive. It's only going to send you. And when it sends you, it's going to send you into this one only, because it's set to receive only on. We're gonna test that. Now, when I go into here, it's only going to shoot me out of this one. Now, I have that same setup over here, except these are both set to alpha. Those ones are set to Bravo. When I enter this, it's going to send me to here. And yeah, that's easy enough. And up next we have our kill volume. So if you want a certain area to be completely blocked off, and as soon as they enter it, they get killed. Like, let's say your map has lava or something, or water. You're definitely going to add a kill volume. So as soon as they enter this box, they are going to instantly die. But this one it's a little warning. It's saying that you have 10 seconds before it's going to kill you in this area. So if there's a part of the map that you don't, like it looks like the player can go on there, but they shouldn't, you're going to place a soft kills volume. You're not going to have them instantly get killed with a kill volume. You're going to want to give them a chance to get out of there. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. Over here was the soft kill, I believe. Yeah, you see, it's starting to give me that countdown, but as soon as I walk out, I'm fine. And now over here, instantly killed. Next we have the map intros. So, if it's a 4v4, you're going to have these guys, right? This is going to do the intro sequence that you see in it. Literally every single multiplayer game that you play, it's going to have this same looking setup. But you're going to want to set it up to eagle. Then if it's for BTB, all you gotta do is just duplicate them and put them wherever you want, but you're gonna have this one set to Team Eagle. And then you can do just single ones right here, where this player will spawn by himself. You just gotta make it set to Team 1 Eagle. Or if it's free-for-all, have it set to neutral. Now you can also set the spawn order. So if you want these ones to get, if you want a certain batch of spawn points to get prioritized, you have them set to 0. And if you have another bunch that you're like, okay, that would be the location for the maximum amount of players, we'll have that group spawn over there. But if it's really just going to be like 3 or 4 players, we're going to have this one prioritized. So this one will be set to 0. And if you place another one, just have this one set to 1. All this is saying is it's going to try spawning this first, and then it will try spawning this one. Now you can ignore danger. So if you don't want to get spawn killed, you're going to turn this on. And then you can ignore line of sight. That's what LOS means. Also, for just player protection whenever you spawn, it's just going to make the player not get pissed whenever, as soon as they spawn, they get sniped because someone was looking at that area. Now we have the winning outro. So, I always set this up at like a really cool part of the map where you get to see some maybe cool lighting or shadows on your player or something. This is going to, all you gotta do is just place this and you're done. As soon as the map ends, it's going to have a winning outro so that you get to see the winning players for that map. If there was only one, it's, I think, gonna prioritize this one or like this one. Now, for setting up capture the flag, we've got a flag delivery plate for each team. And then we have a flag spawn zone for each team. Whenever, and it's very easy to do this, you just got to place 2 of them. You're going to want to have them next to each other. And then go down to gameplay, in the object properties, have them both set to Team 1 Eagle. And then over here, they're set to Team 2 Cobra. You know, just visualize this being one entire map. Player is going to grab the flag from over here and deliver it to this plate, but if they're on this team, they're going to grab the flag over here and deliver it to this plate. Easy enough. Next we have the cameras. So if you want to have map intro cameras, which just make your map seem super cool, you know, really just anticipates the player, it's kind of complicated, I will not lie. Here's what you got to do. This one is going to be sequence order 1, and it's going to start. What's going to happen is that this camera is going to slowly move over to this position, because this is set to sequence order 2, and it's ending. You can have this set to custom if you want it to, like, if you want the camera to like move in and turn around a little bit. You would just have this set to custom, and then sequence order 2, and then place another one in front of it, have that be sequence order 3, and then have the camera blend be end. But right now, all this is going to do on the game start is it's going to go like this, slowly move up a little bit, and then it's going to end, and then it's going to go to this one, which is going to do the same thing, slowly move up a little bit. But if you wanted, like I was saying, if you wanted your camera to like go in and then go up a little bit, all you would do is move this up, have this set to custom, and then rotate it up, then have one, and have the one right next to it, go all the way up here, have this set to sequence order 5, because that's the next one in the phase, and then have it end. So this is exactly what it would look like on the game start. Unfortunately, you can't test it, which is kind of a bummer. You can't test it in Forge, but whenever you start the game, it's going to go from here to here. Once it reaches this camera, and also you can change the duration. You can have it set to like 5 seconds, which is saying it's going to take 5 seconds for this camera to end up here. Once it does, it's going to go to black screen and then switch to this camera. And what this one's going to do is slowly go to this one, and then it's going to go to this one, and then it ends. Now this one is set to sequence order 3, this is sequence order 4, this is sequence order 5. And for the camera blend, this is start, this is custom, this is end. This one is more, you know, two-dimensional. All it is a start, then end. And yeah, if you wanted to add another camera, you would just place it wherever, have that be set to sequence order 6, and have that one be start, and then whatever one after that will be sequence order 7, and then end, and so on and so forth. Pretty simple. Alright, well, I hope this video was helpful to you guys. And yeah, if I missed anything, be sure to just leave it in the comments, and I'll put that in the next video. It's just hard to put all of this Forge information in one video. And if you wanted this video to be more about actually forging and how to better your forge technique when it comes to placing objects, I did make a video about that earlier. That's going to be in one of my, I think it's called Forge Tutorial Part 1 or something. Check that one out. And I hope this video was very useful to you guys. If you have any questions, again, throw them down in the comments. I'll make a video about them. So yeah, thanks for watching.